Chapter 16 of Mr. Wicker's Window by Carley Dawson. This is a LibriVox recording. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Arthur Piantadosi. "Come along, Amos. We must get a closer look at that ship," Chris cried, putting his glass away. Scrambling down, the two boys ran along the stream until it was shallow enough to cross. The water was icy, telling, as well as the turning leaves and cooler air, that fall had come and winter was on the way. Hurrying forward, Chris and Amos reached the mouth of a stream where it joined the river. There, on the left bank of Rock Creek, high rushes grew in rank profusion on the mushy land. They rose higher than the heads of the two boys and were too closely packed to allow for easy passage. "We'll have to skirt the very edge," Chris said, glancing about. "Barefoot would be best. This soft ground would go over our shoes and maybe suck them down." "Keep light against the rushes," Chris warned Amos. "And if a boat shows up coming from the wharves, we can't take any chances. We'll have to dive into the rushes and hide, just in case it's Claggett Chew." "That's right." Amos nodded his head vigorously. "I don't want to meet him again if you do less than me," he chuckled. The two went on, making slow progress, for the river was deep at that point, with a little foothold between the edge of the jungle of reeds and deep water. "Keep an eye out, Amos," Chris called back over his shoulder as he went ahead. It was no time before Amos's voice came huskily up to his friend. Chris, hold on! There's a boat with 4 men in it just left the last wharf, and they're heading this way. Get in those rushes quick. My clothes will be mighty bright." Rushing and panting, they shoved their way into the dusty rushes, swooping back until they could barely see the river through the stalks, and it was just in time, for barely were they hidden when they heard, carried over the water, the dip and splash of 2 pairs of oars and the creak of oarlocks. Then, in another moment, came the high-pitched voice of Osterbridge Hawsey. This gave a shiver as it reached him. "Claggett!" In the voice of the fop, who was with Claggett Chew, who was sitting in the bottom there of the boat. "Claggett, I find myself quite fatigued. A little wine, I fancy, might revive me when we reach the ship. Eat it, I think, and spice the world of the night chill. And Claggett," went on the voice, almost upon them now, it was so clear. "What do you think of this muslin for my new shirts? Is it not delicate? Irish. C'est l'avant sans dire, as the dear French say. I feel sure it will be satisfactory." From Claggett Chew, the two boys heard not a word, and clearing out they saw the boat shoot by. Osterbridge Hawsey, wrapped in a great cloak, was admiring a bolt of muslin that he held, but Claggett Chew, his face shadowed by a hat, was holding his whip upon his knees and glowering at the water. The boat passed, and some time after, the two boys heard from across the water the echo of wood against wood, as the dinghy reached the Venture's hull. After a while, as the boys were about to move along, a heavy drooping sound and the shuddering of the marshy ground made the two in hiding look at one another in concern. "What in the world?" Chris murmured. The sound, accompanied by steps, oaths, "Damn!" and an arithmetic drop and shudder, continued far along the shore. Stealthily, trying not to shake the rushes and show what they might be, Chris and Amos pushed through the marsh. The sun was setting as they came near the steps and voices, pushing through the weeds towards the river. Chris found they were nearly opposite where the Venture floated, below Mr. Mason's island and at a desolate part of the river. Chris gestured Amos forward, and they went on step by step until, in a pause of the thundering, dropping sound, they knew themselves to be near its origin and parted the reeds enough to see. There, within a few yards of them, and at the edge of a hard-beaten track from the main shore, lay a mass of cannonballs and shot for guns of various sizes, such as are used on men-of-war. The crew of the Venture, able to carry but one at a time, kept a line going from shore to pile, and this, as they dropped the cannonballs from their shoulders, was the sound of them shaking in the ground the boys had heard and felt. Seeing the red caps and kerchiefed heads of men above the rushes, the boys let the reeds fall back. "I'm going to have a look at the ship through the glass," Chris whispered, and moved forward closer to the shore. Parting the stalks, he trained the glass in Claggett Chew's ship. It was a fine, rich vessel, that was evident, and swarming with activity. At this hour of dusk, other boats along the river had stopped their commerce for the day, and there were none to observe what Claggett Chew might be about. Chris and Amos were the only watchers. The cannonballs and ammunition were taken out in boats and hoisted up in nets. Chris observed everything closely and saw still other crewmen disappearing with their burdens down the hold. Then something caught his eye, and he examined the name along the side through the spyglass. Curious, thought Chris, that all the letters of his name seemed exact except the second and the third. Among the other letters carved in gilded wood, the E and N were not quite as straight as all line as the rest. Oh, well, Chris thought, it's doubtless the custom of the time, for all I know. Putting the glass in his pocket, he rejoined Amos, but as he did so, the last two sailors put down their cannonballs and wiped the sweat off their foreheads with their arms. In the ensuing silence, the rustle of the rushes as Chris and Amos moved away were plainly to be heard. "What's that?" one man cried out. "It's Spy there! Here, take this club and beat him out, we'll catch him!" The two men charged into the brush so fast that Chris barely had time to whisper to Amos, "Hurry, Amos, run! And I'll be all right. I'll draw them off. I'll meet you where we ford the stream." Amos safely out of sight, the men came only on a small dog, foraging for rats, wagging its tail and handing out a yip rape or two as it followed round. "You! You! Give it a kick, there. It's only a stray dog," one said, and "Devil take it. What do I care?" answered the other, turning back. The dog lay panting at the WICKER'S edge. Looking past the ship as it rested, it saw what it thought was snow upon the water and banks. But it was just thousands of ducks migrating south, and when they rose to move farther away, the sky was overcast and thunderous with their wings. Long after, dark, cold, dirty, and quite wet, the two boys reached the house on Water Street. "Where did you go?" and Becky inquired, frowning with solicitude at the bedraggled pair. "Oh, no place much," Amos answered, yawning. Mr. Wicker's Window, Chapter 16, by Carley Dawson. End.